and welcome to Worst Collection Ever. I'm Jen.
I'm Shawn.
And this is, once again, the show where we tell you about our shit-tacular comic book collection. We have two wonderful selections for you today.
Yeah!
Starting with...
Garbage.
I mean, wow.
Literal.
I don't even know what to say about this book.
So it's our DC book. This is a DC book.
Yep.
This is The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, number 3, from July 1990.
Yes.
Now,
there's a little bit of backstory.
We need so Ford Fairlane. Let me try. How do we best explain this?
So
I guess what?
I was just gonna say. So there was this guy who his name.
I think okay. So for our older listeners,
you guys already know who this guy is.
You already know who this guy is.
Clay.
Yeah. So we're talking about Andrew Dice Clay.
Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay was a comedian. For the uninitiated and uninformed, Andrew Dice Clay was a comedian in the late 80s. Actually, for the mid to late 80s.
Yeah.
Who
was a big fucking deal.
Was a really big deal for a short amount of time.
Yeah.
But he was a huge deal. And his whole thing was he would tell just filthy, misogynist, homophobic, racist, just jokes.
Almost like nursery rhyme type jokes.
No. That was a part of his act.
He did part of it, yeah.
No, that was part of his act. But he does have actual material.
Yeah, and it's very hard to explain Andrew Dice Clay to people who did not live through.
If you did not live through Dice Clay, you have no idea why Dice,
or why the fuck a comedian would ever get this sort of like acclaim.
He sold out Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, he was a big fucking deal.
Big deal.
And he used, he had like Elvis hair, and he wore all black and like a leather jacket, and he would like smoke, like putting his hand behind his head. He would do gimmicks like on stage where he would smoke a cigarette. It was ridiculous.
And also too, he was in a number of movies.
Yeah. Which Ford Fairlane was a movie.
Okay, yeah.
We'll get
to that. Yeah. But basically, like, he was in a bunch of movies, and then he did some TV and stuff, and then he also was banned from MTV for life. I think he currently is.
Yeah, I think he still is.
Not that he would appear on it now.
Not that that's a bad thing now.
Not that there's a chance that, at some point MTV's just like, you know what, it's time to bring back Dice Clay.
Yeah.
We've been doing pretty good. Maybe he needs...
he's 58 years old. He's never going to be put on fucking MTV ever again. But yeah, he was banned from
MTV. So life ban, successful.
And I think it's kind of hard for people who are younger, who didn't live through that whole thing in the 80s, where... like, comedians were the shit. Like,
it was a part of the comedy boom. The comedy boom in the 80s.
And it's hard for people who didn't live through that to remember it. Because, it was a time when, even though, we were kids, but, like, every fucking comedian who just set foot in L.A. just got, like, fucking TV shows thrown at them and shit. Like,
yeah. It still happens today, though.
I know, but, way more than it
Here's
ever
the thing.
did
Like, you
now.
compare it, because, you could not, comedians in the 80s had a thing where it's like Roseanne and Jerry Seinfeld, and people would, it was like
stand-up was
it was a mad dash to get these people TV shows.
Yeah.
Whereas today, you have,
sure, you can get it. You can get them, but you get them with Netflix.
Well, no, or it's like you have comedians like Gerard Carmichael and Whitney Cummings and all the Chelsea Handler and all these. Aziz Ansari, but all these different comedians that have shows, and they're kind of built more. Either they're organically good, or they just kind of fail. But for a lot of these guys, it was like hardcore.
Yeah.
Now, Dice did have a TV show.
Oh God.
I don't know if you were you aware of this?
I was not aware that Dice had a TV show.
But this was after he stopped doing Dice. He took Dice out of his name and he was just Andrew Clay, and he was. In a show called Bless This House. It was like a honeymooners kind of show on CBS that was on for maybe a season. Because there's no way that it would have... there's no way it would pass the season. But it was... Because that was when people were like, well, Dice, he's cleaned up his act. He's trying to make it as a real man. You know, and then eventually he just went back to being Dice. You know, he had like a special in like '96 or something, which I watched on HBO, where he was just like hickory dickory dock, you know. And, you know, and I remember that. I remember my track coach at the time was very excited to see Dice because he was kind of, you know, because he himself was kind of like Dice inflated with a bike pump.
You know what's so weird though is like now I think if we were to sit down now and watch Dice's act, a lot of it we would think is hack. But because everybody ripped him the fuck off.
Yeah.
Because when he first came out, nobody had seen people do shit like this.
Well, no, there's people that were
people
blue.
Who do it blue, yeah, but like not to the degree that Dice did it. With the leather jacket and the persona and the hair and the cigarette. It was this whole different thing.
Right.
Yeah.
So anyway, how does this tie into the comic book world? Well, let's...
I have a synopsis of this thing, if you'd like. Of the movie.
Okay, well, let's put it this way. So there was a movie called The Adventures of Ford Fairlane.
Starring Andrew Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay. It was written by... Who's it written by?
This was written by...
Who should say it at the top?
Oh, written by David Arnott.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. But
it was directed by Rennie Harlan, who did direct... if you remember, he did direct Cutthroat Island. Or no, wait. No, maybe Cutthroat. Yeah, maybe that. Mm-hmm. He directed Die Hard 2. And he also directed 12 Rounds with John Cena.
Ooh, dun dun dun. Right. Okay. Well, actually, it was written by David Arnott, James Capp, and Daniel Waters, based on a story by Arnott and Capp.
Who's Arnott?
Oh, David Arnott.
I'd rather not.
So let me just read. So basically, this comic book is based on this movie, or the character in this movie. So, the movie, The Adventures of Ford Fairlane, is a 1990 American action comedy film directed by Rennie Harlan and written by those three guys.
John Cena. Oh.
Based on a story by Arnott and Capp. It's John Cena!
I was
like, who is it? John Cena! Okay. The film stars comedian Andrew Dice Clay as the title character Ford Fairlane, a, quote, rock and roll detective whose beat is the music industry in Los Angeles. True to his name, Ford drives a 1957 Ford Fairlane 500 Skyliner in the film. The film's main character was created by writer Rex Weiner. That's what it says. In a series of stories that were published as weekly serials in 1979 to 80 by the New York Rocker and the LA Weekly.
Oh.
The stories...
Oh, so he was like a fanfic kind of thing.
Well, no, I think he was an original character.
Okay, I guess.
The stories have since been published as an ebook.
Ooh.
The film was both a commercial and critical failure, grossing little more than half its budget and, quote, winning the Golden Raspberry Award for Worst Picture, tying with Bo Derek's Ghosts Can't Do It.
Well, the competition was pretty slim back in the 90s. Which, I'll be honest, there probably were worse movies in 1990. I actually kind of want to see this.
Well, maybe it's on Amazon. Maybe we can get it.
You know what? Maybe we should have watched that. We were doing like a horror movie marathon last time. Maybe we should have threw in some Ford Fairlane.
Well, I didn't even think that would be a horror.
It's a horror. It's horrible.
It's a horror. Yeah.
It's scary.
You know, it probably would have been better than Night School.
Yes.
Night School was boring.
Night School was boring as shit.
Yeah.
And I had...
Which, you'd think a horror movie called Night School would not be boring.
No, it was more of like... It was this movie more of like... It was more of like... Guys, let's think about the state of women, you know, about teachers sleeping with their students and anthropology and shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck you, movie.
It's a thriller. But it wasn't a fucking thriller. It was boring. I wanted it to be more exciting because it was called Night School.
I kind of wish it was more like Fort Fairlane. Anyways, The Adventures of Fort Fairlane. Which, few things here. Okay, so the cover... This is I think this is the last issue of this mini-series.
Yeah.
This is not an ongoing series.
Well, I love that it has a picture of Dice on the cover. Let's talk about that.
Well, the picture of Dice on the cover says, soon to be a major motion picture from 20th Century Fox, starring Andrew Dice Clay.
Wait.
Meaning that, yeah, they probably were pulling from the source material, you know, to kind of create this, and then as the movie was coming, you know, they're like, we're going to do a comic, and we're going to do a movie, and we're going to do, you know, a ride, a Canada's Wonderland, and fucking, we're going to do a video game, which I hope to God there was a video game for this.
Oh my God, I wish there was a video game about this. This would be amazing.
And I like the picture they used of Dice on this cover.
He just looks so like...
He looks like
you guys taking a picture now?
He looks surprised but also sad because he knows that it's not going to be good.
Yeah.
It's kind of foreshadowing. He's like, guys, no.
This is as good as it gets for me.
Guys, this is it.
This is it.
This is it.
This is it. I'm going to have a reality TV show years from now about me trying to get back to Madison Square Garden. Did you remember? Did you watch that?
Oh, no, I
sure as fuck did.
I didn't watch it, but I remember Obie and Anthony were talking about it. And he's like, I want to go back in time. And, and they were making fun of him, kind of like doing like he's like, I gotta go back in time. Dick, dick, dick. You know, the whatever the fucking Back to the Future song. They're like, hey, look at me, I'm on a hoverboard. I know that has nothing to do with anything, but I like just the idea of Dice on a hoverboard. Look at me, I'm on a hoverboard. Anyways, actually, I have a few favorite Dice jokes. Should I share one?
Maybe we should talk a little bit about this first.
Okay, but I do. But this picture though is basically, he's kind of foreboding. He's like, "Don't open this." He's at the corner where you would normally open a comic.
Why are you reading?
Why are you reading?
Why the fuck did you buy this?
No, we bought this for. I think we bought this for 50 cents.
Oh no, this was $3 for $1.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was $3 for $1.
So less than 50 cents.
So it was 33 cents.
It was 33 cents.
As it should be. Suggested
that guy just should have handed it to you. Just be like, look, take it.
Look, nobody else. I think issue 2 was in there.
I think there was another one in there.
But I didn't want to. I just wanted one.
No. Yeah.
So it's just like a French fry. I just want one.
Yep.
Suggested for mature readers, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, this summer, Die Harder, because Bruce Willis and Die Hard 2, directed by Renny Harlin. How about that? Anyways. Okay, so basically... All right, so we start with...
It's very hard to
on the cover of the LA Times, talking about a white blues musician has been murdered.
Yep.
The third one.
I like that the headline specifies that he is white, which would never happen.
Well, firstly, actually, none of this would never happen.
No, none of this would happen. It would... anyway, continue. What?
I'm just reading the story here.
Oh, you can I didn't even bother.
You can read some of it, and like the story underneath it has nothing to do with this picture.
Of course not.
A guy and
a dead guy
in a sheet.
Holding a guitar
that for some reason is slightly colored as well, but like there's some weird color issues in here.
There are some weird color issues. I'll show you one later.
And also I think I know what you're talking about, but there's also a picture of a policeman.
A very angry policeman.
Just an angry picture of a policeman.
Really pissed off, like blockheaded.
Like he's not even talking. He's just like here's an angry policeman. You can't see his eyes.
And there's no reference to him in like the headline above the picture.
Killer at large, police report leads, and it's just like, well, okay, there's an angry guy.
This is a picture of a cop. Okay.
Also, by the way, we have to also point out, written by Gerard Jones.
Okay.
Because Gerard Jones, to me, is very important because he also wrote the entire series of Wonder Man for Marvel.
Oh shit!
Which kind of answers a lot of questions about the Hollywoodness of this book and the Hollywoodness of like his knowledge of LA geography.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So anyway, now we got Dice sitting at his desk. He's talking about he's talking to who's this guy? Gut Bucket. What's it called? Gut Bucket.
Yeah.
He's an owner of.
He's got like the receding hairline and the long hair.
Because it's the 80s or 90s, late 90s.
He's wearing sandals. Look at those sandals.
Oh, how about that?
With a sport coat.
Yeah, so he's rocking it, and Dice is just sitting there with a bunch of papers and his thing, and
he's like, "Please help me. Here's this really piddly check. I want you to find out who's been killing these white blues musicians." And Dice is like, "Well, this check doesn't pay for shit because I'm broke."
I'm broke, but I've got lots of gold records on my wall. Apparently,
yeah. Apparently, like somebody.
Or he's just records. I don't know if they're gold. I can't really tell.
It says something like he must have heard about the last case where the guy like paid me with a trophy or something. But whatever. And then he said he took out a loan to pay his secretary, who happens to be named Jazz. Now remember, they're calling him, and this is in quotes, Mr. Rock and Roll Detective.
Yes.
Which is terrible because it doesn't even make any sense. Why don't you call him the rock and roll detective? Why Mr. Rock and Roll Detective?
Why don't you just call him a detective? Because he does it because his rock and roll has nothing to do with this.
And not only that, but like, why would you only be a private eye who investigates music-related crime?
Well, I mean, this is, there's hair metal going on. There's probably a lot of ODs and bad drug deals going on. So I'm sure Dice could probably have, it's probably, Ford Fairlane was probably, into that back in the day, hanging out the whiskey in the Viper Room. Probably he probably investigated the death of River Phoenix.
Oh, I shouldn't laugh. That's sad.
I know it's sad, but I mean, but I think he had a hand in that.
Yeah.
So he's
he's like, I'll help you, sir, and then apparently he's taken out a loan to pay his secretary or a slab.
Who gave him a loan?
Right? Who the fuck gave this guy a loan?
Or who gave him? Who? I'm not saying. I'm just talking. I'm talking about the character here.
Right.
Yeah, I'm sure Dice can get a loan.
Oh yeah, but like this guy has like no assets and no collateral except for his car, I guess. And like he lives in this private eye place, his office. He lives there because he has nowhere else to go. And like he took out a loan to try to pay his secretary, and now he can't pay her anymore. But that's okay because he's gonna try to fuck her.
Hey.
Yeah. Which, ew.
Well,
like, ew.
This woman could do much better. Maybe maybe she's got really shitty skills though.
Like office skills?
Yeah, like maybe she just can't. She can type like one word a minute.
Oh yeah, well then he doesn't care. He probably doesn't even notice.
I don't think he knows. I don't think she.
Ford Fairlane's kind of dumb.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, out walks Gut Bucket. In walks blind Sonny Stevenson.
Yep, a blind musician.
A blind musician. He's a black guy. He's a black blues man.
Yep.
And he's like, hey, I'm here to talk about these white boys being killed.
Yeah, these white blues dudes.
White blues dudes being killed, so,
Oh, by the way, I'm not actually blind, that's just my name.
Yeah. Which actually, I'll be honest,
that was pretty funny.
That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Although he keeps up the whole act, nonetheless.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I really need you to help me because the cops think it was me who did it. And he's like, no, but I have to go to Chicago because I have an actual person who gave me money to, like, hunt this down. He's like, no, you should stay right here in L.A. He's like, can't help you. And so he leaves, and then Jazz is like, oh my god, you have so much money. Why can't you help this man? Because apparently she isn't aware of the hovel that she's working in.
Wait, so she thinks he's rich?
Yeah.
I can't believe that you're paying. Come on, you're making good enough money to do one good deed, aren't you? Wait, but he didn't offer to pay him.
No, that's the thing. He's not paying him. Ford Fairlane says, I can't help you, blind guy, because
he's not paying, because he's got a paying client.
Because I have a paying client. And then when he leaves, Jazz says, I can't believe that you wouldn't even help that man, even though he's not going to pay you, because you're making good enough money. Can't you afford just to do a good deed? I mean, apparently she doesn't notice that she's working in an office that's, like, crumbling around her, and that her last 2-3 paychecks haven't come through, but she's telling him that he's making enough money. And so then he feels bad, and he's like, fine, come talk to me, blind dude.
So he talks to blind dude, and he's like, basically, there's like a bunch of, like, rigmarole with the...
Yeah, there used to be, like, a... I didn't understand this part because it was like, so there's a white blues musician, and all the other white blues musicians used to hang out with him and used to touch him for scratch. Which I was like, so did that mean they, like, did sexual favors for money?
I don't think touch him.
What do you mean? What do you think that means?
He's probably just like, hey, give me some money.
Like, hit him up?
Yeah, hit him up for money.
I like to think that it was some sort of sexual.
And then, then...
You jiggling of balls for like $5.
Is that what a jiggle costs?
I have no idea. Is that what a jiggle costs?
I don't know. Let's ask.
I'm not up on my jiggle prices.
Let me ask Dice.
Do you think Craigslist has a price list?
If I go on Craigslist and say how much for a jiggle, and then see what kind of responses I get, and I'll just put like an email up and just be like, all right, yeah. Yeah. I'm sure there must be a list somewhere. Ugh. Anyways, so what's the going rate for a jiggle? for a scrotal
jiggle.
Scrotal jiggle. Yeah, because I need to know, because I need a reference point for this comic book from 1990 that nobody bought. Anyways, So wait, so why are people getting killed? Like this guy with a beard?
It's something like his parents cut. There's the one guy whose parents cut him off, and then he went to his friends to be like, "Hey, I loaned you money," and his friends wouldn't pay, but then they started dying.
Okay,
but I don't know. So that happened, and then like I don't know, and then somebody tried to set up the blind guy. And he's like, oh, I didn't do it or whatever. And so here's an address.
Would have been nicer if she believed what I said about women fainting.
Yeah, see, this is the thing. Because he's like, here, here's this address. You can find me if you need me. And she's like, don't worry, Mr. Stevenson. Mr. Fairlane will handle it. And in Fairlane, there's this lovely picture of just like his face wearing these glasses and like a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Says, yeah, I know what you're thinking. Must have been nice to hear Jazz believing in me. Would have been nicer if she believed what I said about women fainting when I unzipped my fly.
Like unzipped his fly, like just in public? Like,
yeah.
He's walking around like he's at a Kmart and he's like, ow!
It's like, look at this.
Look at this.
So just for the record, like, this whole next scene... Dudes who act like this are not actually any good in bed.
Oh, well,
if they were actually any good in bed, they would get you there with their other skills instead of trying to sexually harass you into it.
Well.
And then when you're in bed with them, they prove that they're good in bed.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
right.
But I mean, of course, in this next
Ford
scene...
Fairlane, not good in bed.
Ford Fairlane, driving his Ford Fairlane, and he...
Well, there's a color error, I think. Is it this one, maybe? Or is it one of the... it's the next one.
Where...
That I love. That he looks like a fucking vampire.
Oh, is this right here?
Yeah, that's where he's gray.
Yes, so, for some reason...
So they're like, driving along. He's trying to, like, feel up her skirt and stuff, and she's... By the way, this is her employer. And he just keeps, like, trying to look up her skirt, touch her.
Yeah, he keeps trying to have a grope, and then they start singing.
Yeah, then he starts singing a song to her, but he's also, like, some of the panels, the coloring's weird, so he looks dead.
I think he died in this panel.
I think he's actually dead in that panel.
Because it's pretty much like the palest gray.
He's gray.
Like, his whole hands are gray. Her hands are gray, too. I think they died here.
They both died.
I think this is Twilight.
Yeah.
It's a good movie. So
he sings to her. And
yeah, why are they singing?
I don't know. Because
he's like asking about
isn't working or something.
Because her name is so he's like, funny you should ask. My CD player broke. Next time I buy American, USA, and then
bro, buy Sony.
So he is talking about how he's saying like. He's like, we can make our own jazz music.
Yeah, we can make our own music, baby. He's just harassing her.
Yeah, and he's like singing his own jazz song. So it's weird. He drops name drops James Joyce for some reason.
And Yo-Yo Ma. He also throws Yo-Yo Ma in there.
Oh, I see that. Yeah. Yeah, he's just rattling off names. It's awful.
It's really weird.
So anyway, I think he goes to...
Oh yeah, so then they go to this guy's house, the address that they got, and then there's nobody there, but he says, I knocked for a really long time, and I really want to know how long that knock was. Was he just like standing there for like 20 minutes, just like, knock, 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 and then they finally look in the window that, by the way, is right next to the door, and see the body. It took them like 20 minutes to figure that out. Yeah. And then, of course, it's the body of another jazz guy, and he's dead. And so she faints because she's a lady. Oh no.
He also unzipped his fly.
Yeah, he unzipped his fly, and she's like, oh, holy shit, the smell. And she fell over. And then he leaves. I didn't understand where he went, or she left.
I think he put her in the car, maybe.
But didn't he say, like, she had to go get something? Like, don't lose it.
Oh, you need to go call the cops.
Yeah,
go find a phone and call the cops.
Because this is before cell phones, don't forget. So she... in her weakened state, like, drives off. And so he just stands there looking like cool or whatever.
Yeah.
Smoking, and he gets hit upside the back of the head.
Gets upside the head, and then somebody...
and dragged
him to the house, and somebody starts the house on fire.
Right, and then she comes back instantly, like a panel later, and drags him out.
Well, no, she might have been gone for a while. I think...
I know, but it's only a panel. So then she drags him out of the burning building. And then she's like, oh no, he's not breathing. Smoke inhalation. I should give him mouth to mouth, even though his eye is open in that picture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that goes about as well as you can imagine.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, and then he tries to kiss her, and she's like, oh my god, I should have just left you to burn, and he's like, and then they do something else.
But then they notice the blind guy's car.
Oh yeah, it was the blind guy's car that they saw driving away from the burning building. So they go talk to him again.
They go talk to him, and...
I don't even remember what happens. What information they get out of him. He says, oh, my car's missing, which I don't believe, and I don't think they believe.
Yeah, he spews a bunch of bullshit.
And then Ford Fairlane buys it, and he's like, okay, well, here, I'm going to leave Jazz in this bar to, like, scope out for, I believe, the blind guy.
Yeah.
And then he leaves.
And then he goes to... he goes
to somebody's house.
He goes to Whitey Snow's place.
Who's another blues guy. So he goes to his house, and he's not there, but, like, his neighbor just, like, pops up over the fucking fence.
So is this in Hollywood, or, like, Hollywood...
Hollywood, if it was a fucking a small town with, like, log cabins around it? Because that's what it's drawn like.
I mean, there's trash on the ground like Hollywood.
Well, yeah, but I'd be like... That looks like some small town bar, and then the way this is drawn looks like it's a log cabin in the woods.
Right.
Yeah. And
then he goes to, and apparently whoever this guy is went into Hollywood.
Well, no, his fucking neighbor just pops out of fucking nowhere. Yeah. And he's like, hey, if you're here to rob him, he doesn't have anything. But if you're looking for him, he's in Hollywood.
So he goes to Hollywood, goes to...
Thanks, helpful neighbor? Like, what the fuck?
Goes to... Okay, so he goes to a record store.
Yeah. So he goes to some... Oh, he calls it like a trend... something. He has a terrible condescending name for it.
A trend bucket.
Trend bucket.
On the boulevard, so I'm assuming Sunset.
Yeah. Or Hollywood Boulevard.
Or Hollywood Boulevard. Or Santa Monica Boulevard.
But it's Hollywood, so I'm assuming Hollywood Boulevard.
He's in Hollywood, goes to a boulevard, and there's a bunch of...
boulevard.
Goes to a boulevard, and there's a bunch of girls.
Who are also drawn as vampires.
Yes, I know, they're all vampires.
They're all so pale.
They're all pale.
Yeah, they're all.
I think you have more skin tone.
And I'm really pale.
Well, it's about the white. Apparently, it's about these white guys playing blues because literally all of them are. Yeah, everybody is white, like literally white.
Yeah, like literally white. Like I have more color than they do, and I am pale as fuck.
And so Dice is, Ford's like dishing to these girls,
and because like I saw you on MTV News, and apparently they also saw these blues guys on MTV News, and I'm like, no, you didn't.
Yeah, no, you didn't. No, you didn't. Not 1990. No, you're not watching. There was that did not happen.
That never happened.
They were bumped.
Was not a thing.
They were bumped for a feature on Firehouse. It did not happen. I'm sorry.
No, it never happened. It never happened.
They were bumped for a Bullet Boys video, which Warner Brothers and DC own. So I don't know why that wasn't a reference in here. Anyways, but yeah, they're talking. It was like, oh my god, he was a rock and roll detective. This is the one that just blows my mind. The girl's like. She's like, oh my god, I'm like thrilled, right? Duh, Amber, don't you know that rock is dead?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Come on.
Blues are just so seriously cool.
Rock is history. Everybody listens to blues.
In what world?
Bullshit. Okay, I'm sorry. I mean, look, it's nothing against blues, but it just feels like...
There's nothing against blues, but I mean, it's just... The suspension of disbelief that you have to believe that everyone in this world is just fucking... wetting their panties over the blues. Like 21-year-old girls in 1990 just can't get over the blues. Like, I can't even muster that degree.
This is like when
of disbelief
for wrestling.
Of belief, I can't do it
for a wrestling reference. This is like when like WCW would be like, the commentators would be like talking about some angle. Mm-hmm. And like Bobby Heenan would be like, I was at the airport the other day and people just would not stop talking to me about this. I'm like, that is not happening.
No.
Okay? There's not, first of all, you're not, I mean, it's just, no. It's not.
I have no problem with like believing something going on in a fictional universe, but I think the problem is that you've set this fictional universe up so it is pretty much, it occurs within our own universe, and then you throw this blues is the only thing anybody cares about bullshit in here, and I can't I can't believe it anymore. It just doesn't make any sense.
Well, just the fact that these girls are like, wow, since I ever saw Whitey on MTV News, I knew I wanted to meet this dude. I'm like, first of all...
No, you didn't.
You didn't see this guy. You didn't see Vampire Man.
Yeah.
Because he looks like, like Edgar Winter or whatever.
Yeah.
You didn't see him on there. And first of all, you weren't watching MTV News.
No. Well, I mean, unless it was like the little Kurt Loder pop-up that used to pop up during the commercials.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know.
Do you remember that?
I know, but I mean, I know that. But I mean,
unless that's what she's talking about, which they would never waste airtime, even if it was those 90 seconds that Kurt Loder used to have, for talk about blues musicians.
Anyway.
Like, fucking Matt Pinfield basically got any time. Like, Headbangers Ball was on at night.
For a reason.
For a fucking reason, though. But, like, you barely got rock on there. And blues is getting all the coverage? I seriously doubt it.
Well, back in the 90s, yeah, you were getting rock.
Well, yeah.
You were still getting videos. This is 1990, so yeah. Were still, but it was filled with slaughter videos. It was not filled with blind man Stevenson.
Playing blues.
Playing blues.
Yeah.
So anyways, he confronts this guy, white man.
Yeah.
And he's like, did you kill this guy, Nathan? And they start...
And, like, the girls, like, start what, like...
No, what happens is, like, so he kind of spills the beans about Sonny being a guy.
Oh, yeah, you mean,
Blind Sonny.
Wait, Blind Sonny.
The blind guy.
Is Sonny's, Wait.
Or Gut Bucket?
Yeah, I thought Gut Bucket's name was Sonny.
Hang on, I gotta go back. I gotta go back to the beginning.
We gotta figure out who's who. Gut Bucket?
Joel Gut Bucket.
Okay, and then the blind guy's name is Sonny Stevenson?
Blind Sonny Stevenson.
Okay. I don't know, I was just calling him Blind Guy.
So you kind of
you gotta stop Sonny because Sonny doesn't like the idea of white guys playing blues. And Ford Fairlane correctly is like, gee, I can't imagine why. Like he's just like, why? You fucking white guys getting all the press over the, the blues guys. And so there's that going on.
Why is this? I can ask this. Like, aren't comic books supposed to have some sort of action in it?
Yeah, this one doesn't have any action except, like, he drops a CD.
Ooh.
Like, they're...
Yeah, CD in a long case.
Yeah, in a long case, which is pretty funny. But
long box.
Yeah, he drops a CD, like, on a table.
There's a lot of, like, random, real, like, race issues.
Yeah, there's some race issues going on, and then Joel shows up, who is Gut Bucket.
Yeah, Gut Bucket shows up.
And then he says something that makes Ford Fairlane actually realize that Sonny is probably the guy who did it, and who hit him in the back of the head. So he, like, stalks off.
He becomes violent when he drinks, he becomes paranoid, and he demands absolute loyalty.
Yeah.
If he senses any ambivalence, because Ford's just paying, he doesn't have an allegiance, to whoever pays him or whatever.
And as he's walking out, one of those chicks from inside follows him out, and this is such a gross part.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's like, hey, like one of the like young groupie girls.
One of the groupie vampires, yeah.
Groupie vampires. Well, maybe that makes this much more interesting, actually, if she's actually a vampire. So she, like, was there to have sex with the old blues musician, and then she runs out and she's like, I saw you on MTV. Like, I totally think you're great. And he's like, oh, you can come over to my place. She's like, oh, I'm so tired of, like, humming the old tune, the tired of being a virgin blues. Which is
so he follows up with a nice title. What you need is a guitarist. Drop by my office and I'll let you finger my frets.
Ew.
Ew. Barf.
Which, not only that, but, like, if your dick is lumpy enough to refer to as frets,
my cum
oh no!
is so thick and pulpy, bitches be needed to not eat meals for weeks.
So gross.
That was a dice joke.
That is a dice joke, ladies and gentlemen.
Also, my other favorite dice joke was real quick when it's just, because it was on the day the laughter died, which apparently is a CD of his. It's just him doing jokes in a room where nobody's laughing, and then I think one of them's just like, I've got a girl. She works at a pizza shop. I'm gonna go after work and smell her or something.
Oh, what the fuck?
I don't know.
What does that even mean?
These are good jokes.
Ew. Okay.
Anyways,
but guess who shows up? Buzz killed Jazz.
Oh, she tells him that he blows. Actually.
He was like, "That's what I was working towards." And you're like,
"Oh wait, I didn't miss that."
That's exactly what he said.
Oh God, barf.
Oh, I know, and it's so disgusting. He was like, "Oh God, ugh."
Oh no, she's telling her to blow. Oh, I get it. I thought she was just telling Ford in general that he blows. But no, she's telling her to blow as in blow away, go away. And he's just like, funny, I'm just trying to get her to blow. Yeah. I have a good dice story here.
Yeah, I know, which you should share at the end.
Should I share that? Yeah,
at the end of this.
I know, we're almost...
Because really, that's the reason we're reading this book. Because I wanted you to share your dice story.
Oh, good. Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah, that's fine. So let's
get to the rest of this.
They get in the Ford Fairlane, and they go over to the hotel where the guy's supposed to be staying, and he's not there.
Nope.
And then Dice calls somebody, or not Dice, Ford Fairlane calls somebody and finds out that Gut Bucket Records actually bought all the rights back to all those dead musicians. They bought them before they started dying, so that all of a sudden he puts it together that maybe there's more to the story than Sonny just being pissed off that white guys are playing blues.
Yeah.
So then he goes over to Whitey, whatever his name's house, the guy who was at the record store.
So Whitey's there with Sonny.
And Sonny's there who's like apparently drunk and hitting him with a pipe. I'm guessing that's what's going on here.
Why is he just not moving? He's just standing there.
Well,
he's like, oh.
Yeah, he's like, no, don't hit me with that pipe.
And why doesn't Dice come? Dice runs through, you see, come through the window because everybody here is white. Like, white!
Yeah, like so vampire white.
Vampire white. It's like actually, I think this is, yeah, he's practically...
He's dead. He's dead.
These are literally white zombies.
Yes.
He launches through the door.
They're sucking all of the authenticity out of the blues music.
Yeah.
They are vampires. So he walks through the door, he's like, oh no, Sonny, and then all of a sudden Joel, shows up with Joel, which is Gut Bucket guy, shows up with a gun.
Yes. And
he was like, oh no, I was here to kill that guy and pin it on Sonny, right? Is that his whole plan?
I didn't, you're crazy, didn't hire you to catch the killer. You were watching Sonny, you wanted me to keep me away from him, so phony lead, yeah, so Sonny apparently is a patsy, even though he is hitting somebody. And then you bought the rights to the records, which is a big coup for you. Whatever, fucking blues. Except nobody was buying blues, at least until bluesmen started dying. Okay, see, apparently, it's the which is accurate.
Yes, it is accurate.
It's very accurate.
It is correct. Yes.
If somebody dies,
their music sells more.
Every idiot will go out and buy their records.
That is 100% true.
I had a friend that was just like, I gotta go out and buy a Ray Charles record. He died yesterday. It's like,
you don't like Ray Charles.
You don't like Ray Charles, but you don't have to. Like you literally do not have to. He cannot benefit from no more.
Yeah, well, his family could, I guess.
But I don't know.
But you didn't like him when he was alive. Why do you like him now that he's dead?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like one of those things that you're like, man, I'm so sad that I'd never listened to this before. You're just like, oh, I have to buy this because this guy's dead now.
So this guy, he was fighting with one of his artists. One of the guys fell. He died by accident.
And then he sold a shit ton of records. And he's like, oh, I wonder if that works again. Oh, guess what? It does.
Yeah.
So he starts killing all of his artists, trying to pin it on the black guy.
So they're arguing, and then... And he's like, I had to do it for blues. I didn't make them die. It was white society.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I was like, you mean you? You happen to be a white guy who just killed all of these people? But, so they're fighting, and then Jazz hits him upside the head with, a thing in a bag. I don't know. And then there's fighting, more shooting. Yeah, there's a funny part where, I think it's on the next page, where Fairlane, he hits this guy across the face, but the way he's drawn, it looks like he can't stand properly in his high heels.
Yes. His body is just kind of Gumby.
Yeah, he's very Gumby. He's wearing heels, high heels. I have heels this high.
There's just a very weird, and this one guy, the Gut Bucket, actually does a flying karate kick on him.
Yeah, in his sandals.
In his sandals.
Fucking Birkenstocks. Which is ridiculous. And then finally...
And they're throwing out fucking puns and shit. It's stupid. He karate chops.
And finally, Ford Fairlane knocks this guy out. And... they're like, oh, yeah, that's great. And... I don't know.
We're still not done with this?
I know, right? And then, like, I don't know, they play, like, a song, or they turn on the music or something. For some reason, like, whatever she hit, Sonny threw that bag at that guy's head, and it had a radio in it. And they turn it on. Oh, they turn it on, and they find out that whoever was responsible for killing one of the blues musicians, the rich one who got cut off by his parents, if you have information on who killed them, they're going to give you, what, $250,000 or something?
Yeah.
Or even more. $250,000. As a reward. And, oh, guess what? They know who it was. Isn't that great? So Ford Fairlane gets a new CE player, and him and Jazz go to some house.
But don't these other...
Wouldn't you assume that you would like to share it with this gentleman? But, oh, no, you're not going to help him. Fuck that guy.
So because blind Sonny Stevenson also knows, too.
Right.
And so does this guy, too. The guy hit.
Yeah, no. Only Ford... And so does she. You'd think you'd split that 4 ways, but no, only Ford Fairlane gets the money. So, they go to some huge house in the Hollywood Hills
that he bought.
He bought it with the money that they just got.
You can't buy that for $250,000.
Maybe you could in 1990.
Oh, okay.
Or he put it down on it, and he's hoping to pay it off with the non-existent money he has.
But apparently he also has the computer system from Death Spa in his house.
Yeah, or Gem.
Or Gem.
And so this is, like, also his new office.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, she's all sexed up. She used to, like, be all dowdy in, like, a cardigan and shit, but now she's wearing this, like, little black dress. And so she turns on some Hendrix, because that's what he's into, and then they have the sex.
Oh, yeah.
The end.
Boning. That's it.
All
right.
Would you read the next issue of this if there were one?
Would you... If there was another Ford Fairlane comic book series, would you read it?
No.
No, I would not.
No.
Maybe if they colored it better.
Even if they colored it
because better. Because the actual hue of one color of Ford Fairlane is not the same as it is here.
Right.
Hey, we'll just point that out.
Yeah, yes.
So I guess I should tell my dice story.
Yeah, you should tell your dice story.
This is a great dice story. So, I was in... And let me preface this. Dice was nothing but dice.
Yes.
It's dice, so it's like, okay, this is...
Right. He was a very nice person.
He was very cool. I used to work at a record store in Hollywood, actually in the Valley. In the Valley, in Sherman Oaks. And it was a used record. It was a second spin on Ventura. And I used to work there, and he came in one day. Now, mind you, I didn't know it was him. I thought it was some guy. Actually, I thought it was a lesbian. I'm not going to lie. It looked like a lesbian for a minute. Like a short-haired lesbian, like in a sleeveless shirt and a fanny pack.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure, but I didn't.
It's kind of how once men and women as they age sort of just start looking alike.
Yeah,
I've noticed this.
Yeah. I mean,
so you have like a lot of like old dudes who look like old women. Yeah, and that's what Dice look like.
So, anyways, I'm walking around doing my job, and I'm helping somebody, and I see this girl, and I go to help her. And this girl's like, I don't know if she was an adult film star or whatever. She's a small girl, tanned, and like giant tits, and I'm like, oh, hey, how can I help you? And she's like, oh, I'm looking for this music, whatever. And then behind me, it comes Dice, and he's like, this is when I realize it's him, and he's like, hey, yeah, she's with me. I'm looking for music to fuck to. And apparently he was looking for a specific song from Enrique Iglesias that I think just came out called I Want to Fuck You Tonight.
Yep.
Which
is a real song.
It's a real song. I didn't know this at the time. I didn't know how to really research it or whatever, because you can't just usually typing in the system, I want to fuck you tonight. It doesn't usually bring up a whole lot of, things in a store that's owned by a nationally owned chain.
Yeah.
So, but he's like, I'm looking for music to fuck to tonight, and he's like, and he's just kind of like walking around picking up stuff, he's like, oh, this is a good one. It says kinky on it, and I forgot what he bought, but he came, so he goes up to the counter, he pays and everything. He said he was nice, it was all good, whatever. And then he leaves, and my friend's like, my coworker's like, it was like, oh man, I go, oh man, that was Dice. He's like, yeah, he had a pretty nasty thing of conjunctivitis.
Yeah.
Because he had
a fucking eye patch.
Oh, because I failed to mention, he was wearing an eye patch.
That's the best part of the story. How do you forget the eye patch?
Oh, yeah, I should have mentioned. I'm not a good storyteller. Yeah, I should have mentioned, okay, so yeah, he was wearing the eye patch, but he wasn't wearing the eye patch on the top, on his eye. He was wearing the eye patch, like, kind of, like, above his eye.
Like on his forehead?
Like on his forehead, just kind of sitting there. Like he was tired of wearing it, so he decided just to come into a public place and have it out in the wind.
Take it off.
You know, he just take it off.
And talk to people and touch shit and then give it to them.
Yeah. You know, like handle cash and everything.
Oh, and touch CDs.
Yeah,
with Pink Eye.
With Pink Eye. And I thought, actually what happened was he burned himself doing his cigarette bit, and that's why he had to wear the eye patch. Because it was on his head, and he went, oh, and he just burned himself.
Well, he doesn't smoke anymore. If you watch that show, it's not a real cigarette. He quit years ago.
Well, great. Yeah. That's it, great. So maybe he was doing his bit, and he burned himself with
Dice, very nice, but actually not the biggest.
But not very clean.
Yeah, not the best person for public health safety.
Yeah, no, he probably should have had the...
I'm really glad that you didn't get pink eye, because at that time, when we were both out here...
we didn't have health insurance.
We didn't have health insurance, because...
I could have died.
Yeah? Well, you're not from pink eye.
It's kind of like, you know...
You would have gotten pink eye.
But here's the thing,
I wonder if that's what happened. Like, my eye got all fucked up. I wonder if that's why.
We got pink eye from Dice?
Well, yeah, maybe you brought it home. I don't know.
Maybe Dice was like, hey, I'm just kind of giving it out here, you know, whatever.
And it wasn't like a pink eye thing, but it was like a thing where my eye got all fucked up for a while.
Yeah, well,
that was blame Dice?
What?
Can I blame Dice for that?
Sure.
Yay! Dice's fault.
Why don't you tweet him and be like, 4 years ago you gave me pink eye.
I just figured it out. Does he have Twitter?
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's out there.
Oh.
He's out there.
I'm going to send him a... Why isn't there an angry red eye emoticon? Because I would send it to him. He'd be like, you plus me equals angry red eye. And he'd be like, I don't know what the fuck this bitch is talking about. I'd be like, that's right. And that would be the extent
maybe if I drop my fly, you'll faint her.
I'll just go, ugh. So that's it. That's Ford Fairlane.
Oh, goddamn. We spent way too much talking about... Well, I mean, it was kind of hard to not talk about Dice.
And we had to rush through our podcast at the Kamikaze, so...
Yeah.
Got to take some extra time.
Yeah, we'll take some extra time talking about this Dice. So, yeah, so that's it for, you know, so...
That's it.
Yeah, thanks for...
For Ford Fairlane, for issue number 3, from when is it? 1990.
July 1990.
Yep.
Get it. Hey.
My cum. That's so disgusting. I can't even finish it.
That was like a thing when I was... That was a...
Why would you be happy about having chunky cum?
That's his comeback material. Literally, like when he was on his... It was when we were in Boston, and somebody wrote an article about his show, and one of the comedians that was writing for like the Boston paper, one of those papers, and he was like, he just kind of did pieces of the act, you know, talking about it on stage, and it was like, that was one of the bits. I'll never forget that. Like,
if your cum is chunky, you should go to a doctor. That's a serious problem.
Between the
that's like an STD when it comes out like that.
Between the Hardy cum and the pink eye and the cigarette burns that he's getting, the fake cigarette burns, he's got some problems. He might not. He might be letting just let the stuff go and just kind of see what happens.
Yeah. You know? Well, maybe he's just doing an experiment just to see.
Yeah, you know what?
He's like, if I let this get any chunkier, what happens?
I would like to see Dice.
Is it like a 3D printer? Like with a 3D printing pen?
Can I create?
I can like create it.
Can I create the first child out of semen?
Oh, gross! I'm just gonna like build like a coffee cup out of my chunky semen. Use my dick like a 3D pen.
Oh, I hope all of our families listen to this.
Yes, I hope everybody who wants to hire me for anything listens to this episode. I'm employable.
You totally are, actually. Despite what you've heard today, Jen is totally employable. I can guarantee this. And I am employed, and I am we're all very good at our jobs. We have degrees and master degrees.
Yeah, somebody gave me a fucking degree.
Me too.
They let me go through the system. And they actually gave me a piece of paper at the end instead of saying, like, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
All right, what's our next book?
Okay, our next book is Nightwatch.
Woo! I had no fucking clue what was going on in this book.
Well, nobody did. That's why that's why because that's why this is Nightwatch number 12 from Nightwatch number 12, March 1995. This is the fabulous final issue.
Oh yeah, it is.
Of Nightwatch. Who, if you don't know anything about Nightwatch,
you're not alone.
You're not, and you don't have any more chances to do so.
Is there no more Nightwatch ever?
I can't remember. I think the character came back at one point. So basically, Nightwatch was a villain. Or not villain. He wasn't a villain. He was a hero that debuted in a Spider-Man comic. Some Spider-Man comic.
And he had a suit.
Yes,
Marvel has all the fucking hard-ons for suits.
Oh yeah, they love these suits.
Yeah.
And basically, this being 95, we're at the height of Spawn fandom.
Oh yeah.
Tom McFarlane's Spawn. So he looks so much like fucking Spawn.
He really does. Yeah, there's spikes and Spawn face and
Spawn.
Even the cape looks like Spawn's cape.
He has a giant cape that does things.
Yeah.
It's an organic cape, and he's got gauntlets. I mean, look at on this cover.
That's ridiculous.
Giant fucking gauntlets.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. They're ridiculous. They're up to his shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you move your arm with this? I mean, this looks.
It's a bit much.
And apparently, he only has 1 foot. Here, as you can see here, he has 1 foot.
Yep. And but on the inside cover here, we have an ad for Gargoyles, the movie, the cartoon show of Gargoyles, which is amazing. I don't know.
And
if anybody's into Gargoyles, but you fucking should be, because that is a great show that I have loved since I was a kid.
Well, this is Gargoyles, the movie, The Heroes Awaken.
Yeah. Yeah, basically it's the first...
Because I don't see the Gargoyles. Demona and like...
Yeah. Well, no, because The Heroes Awaken is basically the first couple episodes of the show. Like, put together.
Yeah.
So it's like basically the pilot and the couple episodes after that explain why they're here, where they came from, blah, 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 blah. And it's like in a movie. Kind of like if you watch World's Finest, it's a movie, but it was actually like 3 episodes of the Superman animated series.
But here's the thing. So here's what the Gargoyles look like.
That's Goliath, yes.
Right, there's Goliath. But then you look on the cover of the thing, of the tape, and like there's like one gargoyle that like looks pretty kind of intense in the middle here.
That's Goliath. He is the leader.
Right, but then the rest of them, like I don't see Demona.
Well, Demona's not there yet because that's a long story, and she's not technically.
But do these other ones look so happy?
Well, they're kind of comic relief. So you have Bronx, Brooklyn, and Lexington.
Okay.
And they're all named after places. Because here's the thing with the Gargoyles, the only one that actually ever had a name was Goliath back in Scotland. And then now that they're in New York, they've decided to give themselves names. So they've picked it after places in New York. And there's an older one who's not on the cover. His name is Hudson.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I think Marvel had a Gargoyles comic, so...
Yeah, it was pretty fucking great.
Anyways, back to Nightwatch.
Yeah, Nightwatch.
So Nightwatch, actually, I was wondering...
Gargoyles is better.
I probably would agree. Mm-hmm. Okay, so basically, yeah, here's a quick origin on Nightwatch. I gotta read this because actually this kind of amused me.
Yeah.
Through mysterious means, because we just don't have the time to give a fuck. Dr. Kevin Trench acquired a sophisticated battlesuit of immense power.
Yep. Failing
to use the power adeptly his first time out, he withdrew from the world, but now has come to realize that all it takes for evil to triumph is for good to give up and do nothing.
Uh-huh.
Which is funny because it was like, guys, here's a book about a hero
who didn't want to do anything,
who's not really into it.
Yeah, and then he was like, oh wait, I better do something.
But then he realized that he should do something.
Yeah.
Thus, Trench has become a grim crusader, poised for battle Poised to battle high-tech terror wherever and whenever it rears its wrinkly head. Stanwatch. Stanley presents Stanwatch. Anyways, so we start off with... they're
on a date.
Well, he's not. So basically, at this point, Nightwatch is missing.
Oh, so the guy named Kevin.
Yeah, so Kevin's missing. Yeah, Nightwatch is missing.
I guess.
So we got Dr. Eli Wortham is with... I forget who this girl is.
Oh, she's got
Killian?
Killian, yes.
Killian?
Yeah.
And
so they're they pull up somewhere, and it's just like, oh, how is he going to tell people that... That's why I thought they were on a date, because it has this weird narration boxing in the beginning.
Yeah. Well, they went out to dinner because apparently he ate... They had a steak and he didn't eat it.
Yeah, and she's like, I miss Kevin too, and like, blah, blah, blah. And then this guy shows up.
So then in shows up Warbringer.
Yeah, because I guess what happened is, like, there was a battle and, like, Warbringer won or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he shows up and he looks like the inverted palette swapped of Nightwatch.
He looks a lot like Azrael.
Yeah, and he's got a big spiky face.
Yeah, and there's like spikes and capes, and it's a bit much.
And so he's like, and he's like talking to her. He's like, "We have to talk,"
And she's like, and so she runs away.
She runs away, rightfully so, because the fucking it's just a giant spiky monster, spiky armor man.
That guy's fucking terrifying. And then her date friend is like, "Don't worry about it. Now you can tangle with Cardiac," and like that's his fucking name. And I love that his suit actually has like pulse lines.
Yeah, Cardiac also. Cardiac also another low rent Spider-Man. Cardiac, I think villain or
I can't tell.
Or hero. This is he didn't get his own book. He did not get his own.
No one in this fucking book should have got their own book. This is ridiculous. I don't even understand what the fuck's going on. So he's just like. So he shows up, he's like, Killian, I have to talk to you. She runs away, and he's like, fight! Because that's what superheroes do. Instead of talking,
so
trying to figure out what the fuck is going on, they just punch.
Okay, but so we see him, though, right?
Yeah.
He's wearing his jacket.
Yeah.
Suit, right? Or he's wearing a jacket.
Yes.
He's got whatever.
So he...
And he whips off his shirt, his suit, although he's got his shirt, and his tie and everything.
He's wearing a suit, but isn't his suit made of nanites, or is that?
Oh, is that what makes sense?
That's what I thought. Like his suit was made of nanites, so it kind of conforms to his body.
Well, because the same, because like he has like these giant fucking plates,
right? And like
on his shoulders,
belts around his thighs, and like look at that thing around his wrist. Like you would obviously be able to see that under clothes.
It is the most '90s thing ever.
It really is.
There are belts and fucking nanites and shoulder pads galore.
And then they just start talking about, like, whose suit is better and, like, what suit does what. And I'm just, as they're fighting, and I'm like, guys, I don't care.
Yeah, they're fighting, and
even she's tired. She's over it, too.
Yeah, she's just kind of sitting back. She's just, instead of her just being holy fucking shit explosions, she's just kind of like
stopped and turned around, and she was like, ugh.
It's like they're just talking about their dicks.
Yeah, and they are, because they're like, oh, my thing can do this is before you can whip out a quip, and blah, 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 and they just start shooting at each other, and Cape's doing stuff. And then we get like a very big grimacing shot
of their faces. So like, apparently Cardiac's face has lots of weird lines in it.
Yeah.
Because like his mask is kind of like, apparently it's so tight, it's just...
You know what he looks like? He looks like an old wrestler who's like fucking bladed his forehead.
Yeah,
Both of them do.
Yeah, he's got blade scars.
Yeah.
Jesus, wow, look at that.
Both of them do.
Yeah. Some hardcore blade scars.
Yeah, yeah.
And apparently he's got the smallest eyes.
Yes, they both do.
Cardiac, and the Cardiac's teeth
are huge!
Like, his gums are giant.
Yeah,
the biggest teeth.
His mouth, like, opens very wide.
But he's not opening his mouth, he's just kind of, he's clenching his teeth. He's,
like, pulling his lips back, like,
he's like a horse.
Like, huge. Yeah, it's like a horse.
And I was imagining, because you can't see Deathbringer or Warbringer's face like that, but you can kind of tell that his face is doing something to that effect.
Yeah.
It is weird. And they're just
kicking each other in the face, and then she finally yells at them, and she's like, stop it! You're both idiots. You're totaling our lab. Talk to each other. And they're like, good idea. And so the nanites disappear.
So Warbringer's nanites disappear. It turns out it's Kevin Trench, who, a.k.a.
Nightwatch.
Nightwatch.
And they're like, oh, it's you! And then
And then they sort of...
Then this happens.
So now we go to D.C., because I think we're in New York originally, and now we go to D.C., and apparently somebody's breaking into some sort of office.
Right, to get some sort of information.
Yeah, like the National Security, NSA,
sure,
ONS or whatever.
Yeah.
The director of the ONS is sitting there with a big frothy beer, at a bar, just complaining about, a need for security or knowing whatever, blah, 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 I need to know, and then somebody's breaking into this office of his, and
it's I don't know. It's just some person in a suit.
Apparently, but then they're
like goggles. See, I didn't understand what was going on here. It was like, okay, there was this, and then we cut back to the lab where I thought the fight had ended, but I guess Nightwatch / Warbringer went into like an isolation pod and started just shooting.
Oh, okay. So here's the thing.
Wall.
So the nanites in the Warbringer costume or the Nightwatch costume have evolved into Warbringer. Because now he's just creating giant fucking guns.
Yeah, and he's shooting them all into the walls of this, like, chamber, making them, like, ricochet.
Yeah.
And he's doing it on purpose. For some reason.
And they're doing it something to, like... Because I guess, like, there was some sort of... There's some sort of time travel story...
Sure.
With Kevin Trench or something. It's really confusing. Yeah. It's no shock that this book was canceled. Anyways.
Yeah.
And he's doing all this stuff in this room.
And they're like, there's only so long he can do this because it's not good.
And he keeps trying to blow, kind of stressing this building out.
Yeah, and like the isolation chamber's getting cracks on it, and they're like, oh my god! But then we cut back to whatever's going on in Washington with the person stealing the files.
Yeah.
So that's happening. And they escape before they're caught, but then we're back in the chamber, and the nanites are gone, and now he's like not wearing a shirt.
Yeah, because
he's like, oh, I'm exhausted, but I can't stop these ricochets.
Yeah.
And then they go it's almost like they're creating this big bomb because he was creating what was it called earlier, like the time
bomb.
He was creating a time bomb. That's what happened earlier when he disappeared, I guess.
Yeah, the rebounding energy from his nanite weapons continues to grow in intensity, creating a time bomb that would the chamber was supposed to trap it, and it's bursting free. And
they're like, oh, but you could destroy all of New York this way. And he's like, no, I'm kind of building like a black hole of some sort, but it's going to go into my body. I don't know.
Yeah, he somehow makes it go into his body.
None of that shit makes sense.
None of this makes sense.
No, that's why I was like, I have no fucking clue.
I don't know if here's the thing, because I have another issue of Nightwatch, and I was like, I just feel like, anyways. Yeah. So,
it goes into his body, and then, it blows the top of the building off.
And the energy starts reversing into itself. And Kevin and Warbringer and Nightwatch all kind of...
Well, Nightwatch is gone.
Right, because it's the Warbringer outfit.
Yeah, well, yeah, but he's gone, and then Killian and Cardiac are I don't know, Inspector Gadgeting it away.
Yeah, I know, what the fuck is this shit? Somehow he activated
the building is gone. He blew it off.
And he's somehow unscathed. I mean, he's giant.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's got those big shoulder pads already.
Yeah,
so, he's got, this big, giant duster, and, he's got a suit back on, and, his shirt and tie back on,
but they're holding on to it's just shapes. It's a square hand thing, and then a weird square thingy.
It's a glider.
Yeah, but what is going on here? The top.
Well, it's a shadow. You can't really see it.
Oh, the shadow on the top?
There's no shadow.
That's what I'm saying. What is this top part?
That's a part of the thing. It's a part of the device.
No. I would rather just assume that he was just if he needed his nanites to build something, he was Inspector Gadget, and it's and it has a go gadget copter and
go cardiac copter,
go cardiac copter, and it just looks like a heart or some bullshit, and just flies them away.
It should be a heart. Yeah, you're right.
You're fucking cardiac.
You could have saved this book.
Bro.
You could have saved this book, babe. Yeah, and then the only path is wiping out future self.
Blah blah. I don't even know. I was just what?
Eat my ass.
And so then after they escape, we go back to some people that I have not seen before.
This is like Nightwatch's uncle.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, and what is wrong with this girl's hands? These, like, huge...
Is that a girl or a boy?
I don't know. E.T. hand person.
Nolan.
Wait, boy. E.T. hand person.
Yes.
It's just like, oh no, what are we gonna do? My father is engineering the nanites. Blah, blah, blah. You can tell me more. I guess his father's dead.
Apparently this kid knows a lot about what his dad does.
Sure, and this kid's, his dad's dead, because he says the sacrifices that your father made, Nolan, blah, 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 blah. So that's why he's talking to Nightwatch.
Christopher Nolan.
Oh, that's probably who it is. So then the door opens, and in comes that, like, masked person who stole all the information, and it's Nolan's mom.
Yes.
And she's like, I guess they're looking for information to, like, I don't know, help solve his dad's murder or something. I'm assuming that's what it is. I have no indication of that, but I'm guessing because it's a comic book, and that's usually what happens.
Yeah. And he's like, and then so apparently they get the information they need, and Killian, who's on the other line...
Yeah, he calls her. He's like, you're not going to believe what happened. I guess.
Yeah, Nightwatch is dead. Because he's like, how's my nephew doing? How's Kevin? Because he wants to make sure, he's okay. And unbeknownst to the friends of Kevin Trench, on a nearby rooftop, a cloaked figure crouches, and it's fucking Nightwatch with a gun dick.
And with even more fucking spiky capes and insanity and...
He's like, the end? Question mark?
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't even know what the fucking happened. I guess they were just trying to tie up as many plots as possible, because I have no clue what happened in this book.
I don't think they do. They're just like, okay.
Yeah, and he became he went Super Saiyan 3. Like, that's basically what just fucking happened, I guess.
There was no effort.
And Super Saiyan 3's dumb. Super Saiyan 2 is where it's at.
Yeah, well, apparently they went...
4 is the worst.
4 is the worst?
Well, no, I'm trying to think if it's 4... There's one where they, and it's in GT, so it doesn't technically count, because that girl who's on the Comics on Comics panel is right. GT is fucking bullshit. There's one, and I think it's in GT, where they go to a level of Super Saiyan where, their whole bodies become covered in hair, because they're kind of like a monkey species.
Yeah, right, yeah.
So it's and their hair gets, really long, and their tails grow back. It's fucking stupid. So that was the worst.
Okay. Well, seeing that this book is the worst, they probably went that route.
Yeah.
They're like, well, we could just make it suck. So
yeah.
So that's it for Nightwatch.
Nightwatch.
They don't even have a letters page.
No, because they're like, we don't want to know.
Do they even have a letters page?
We don't even want to know what you think about this book because we know it is dumb.
They just gave up.
Yeah.
That was it. That was it for Nightwatch. That was it. I got to go back and see it because I read up on it recently about what happened to Nightwatch because he probably came back in time, but I think he died.
Sure.
I think he was killed.
Whatever.
Because fuck him.
I don't care about Nightwatch. Screw Nightwatch.
Fabulous final issue. That is...
Would you read the other issue of Nightwatch that you have, now that you have read this?
I might, just to see if I can put stuff together.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing about a book like this, though, like Nightwatch, I can just find all 12 issues of this.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be fine.
Do you want them, though?
I don't know. Here's the thing, I'm kind of a sucker for... big 90s suits like this.
I know you are. I know.
I'm just kind of a sucker for this stuff, and I'm just like, well, what is there anything else in this book that makes sense? But there's all this other stuff in here that doesn't make any sense.
But maybe if you read the whole 12 issues, and it's only 12 issues, it's not a big deal.
No, it's easy to get through.
So maybe that would help explain whatever the fuck just happened in this book, which I don't even know happened in this book.
Well, let's see. I have issue number 5, I think, and number 12. And maybe I should try to get them all.
You know where you could go to find that information?
The internet?
Yeah.
Oh.
You wouldn't have to buy it.
But it makes more sense just to read it, I don't know.
Nightwatch.
Nightwatch.
With Spawn Cape.
Yeah. So that's it for Nightwatch. Number 12. March 1995. And that's it for our show this week. Actually, we didn't go over that long. I mean, we've been going long here, but, we had to talk a lot about dice.
Yeah. I mean, that had to be done.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed our little lesson on Andrew Dice Clay that you're all aware of.
Are we going to look up the Ford Fairlane the movie?
I kind of want to see it.
Oh, God.
Well, Gilbert Gottfried's in it, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Our fellow Sideshow member, Gilbert Gottfried, is in Ford Fairlane. I'm probably wrong. I'm probably wrong. He probably isn't, but maybe he is.
I don't know. He's in a lot of stuff.
Gilbert's in a lot of stuff. I was actually thinking about how much I want Gilbert to be on I Was There Too on Wolf Pop, because he was in. So Gilbert was Iago the parrot in Aladdin.
Yes, he was.
But Gilbert also has a random role in Look Who's Talking 2.
Really?
Yes, he plays the daycare supervisor. Who, he's just watching kids, he's just walking. So just imagine Gilbert Gottfried just walking around the kids like, don't do that, hey, you put that down. And then they start playing like Elvis, and like, what's his face shows up, John Travolta shows up, and he starts dancing with all the kids, And like Gilbert Gottfried's just kind of standing there going, "I'm having a heart attack." It's ridiculous. I should have asked Gilbert about that, because I did. For those of you who don't know, Gilbert, we produce a show here on Sideshow. I put it together every week, and I've had the opportunity to drive around with Gilbert Gottfried in a car throughout LA, taking him to various podcast places to do shows.
Well, if he ever comes back, you have to make sure you put a note so you ask him about that.
Because I asked him about his sketch on the State where he screamed at Tom Lennon about being named Mr. Vagina and how he wanted chicken soup.
What did he say about that?
He didn't remember it.
Damn it!
But these are things. I know,
because he's done like a million things. I'm sure they just run together after a while.
He probably remembers Iago. So he should do that podcast. And maybe Dice can do that podcast. So
what is the premise of that? I Was There Too. It's just like people who were like extras.
Just like people like he had on. So it's by Matt Gorley. He had on what's his face? What's her face? The girl that owns the woman that owns Jeanette Ross. That was in Aliens. Like he had her on to talk about like her role in it, like because they're not the main
God
characters.
Bless that woman.
Yeah, and then you also had on Paul F. Tompkins to talk about his role in There Will Be Blood.
Oh yeah.
It's a show.
Okay.
To be honest, I haven't listened to it regularly.
Listen to that more.
But it's one of those things where it's like, man, Dice was in movies. Dice could do, because he was in this movie called Private Resort with Johnny Depp back in 1985.
Yeah, wasn't he in something recently?
Dice?
Yeah, didn't he have like a? Really,
he was in
Blue
Valentine. No, not Blue Valentine. Fuck me. Blue Jasmine.
Yes, that's it. He was in. I know he was in.
Because he was up for. People were saying he's going to get an Oscar.
Yeah, because he was supposed to be really good. I don't think I've seen Blue Jasmine, so I don't actually know.
Louis C.K.'s in that one too. Actually, it all comes full circle.
Yeah, there you go.
I think he is. Maybe he is. I don't know.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah. You know what also solved that? The internet.
Yep. It would tell us.
Anyways, that's it for the show this week. Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Jen Stansfield, jenstansfield.tumblr.com, jenstansfield.wordpress.com, where I keep reviewing Gotham and Gilmore Girls. But more Gotham.
I feel bad that you review Gotham, but I like watching.
So why?
I think other people are feeling bad too.
They feel bad for me?
Well, they might feel
bad for me for choosing to review a TV show.
I think there's a general
free.
There's a collective feel badness for everybody that watches Gotham.
Yeah,
but is still watching it because of the thing. It's done the same time as Supergirl on Mondays. However, though, Supergirl, at least for the first episode that I watched, it's kind of boring.
Well, maybe the second one will be better. We should check it out.
Maybe we should check it out. I have to make sure I check out Red Tornado's in there because that's
Well, we should watch the second one tonight. We haven't.
Guys, you want to hear about plans we're making for tonight? You want to hear about these are very important. This is all done in real time.
Actually, I wanted to say something about Gotham.
I think it's just about Dice. Dice should be on Gotham.
Dice should be on Gotham as a fucking villain because that's amazing.
Could you imagine him as the Michael Chiklis row? Nobody gets pants. Oh,
saving the city. Oh, yeah, that'd be great. No, I was like, because I review Gotham, and I want to see what other people say about it, so I'll look for other reviews. And like some reviews, obviously not people who are like professional reviewers or whatever, but just like on like Tumblr and WordPress and stuff. Some people especially younger people, are like, oh my god, Gotham was so great. And then it dawns on me that that's their Batman show. They have no other frame of reference. Because they're 15 years old. They didn't live through the animated series, so they have nothing to compare it to, so of course they think it's good.
All they have is the Nolan movies.
And if they even get to watch them, because, maybe their parents didn't let them, but then they have the Nolan movies, and then I just got sad.
It's a sad revelation.
That's your Batman show. That's it. And so now I'm sad. But where can people find you, Shawn?
People can find me on Twitter at Angry Hero Shawn, SHAWN. That's how you spell Shawn. Also my Instagram, Angry Hero Shawn, and my Tumblr, theangryhero.tumblr.com. And please check out SideshowNetwork.tv for all of our fine programming here on Sideshow. All right, folks, that's it for this week. We will talk to you again next time.
Bye.